concentration of solution. Okay, when you are talking about the concentration of solution, first thing, can we dissolve how much? Can you dissolve how much solute? How much solute we can dissolve in a solvent? Means, for example, here we will be seeing the solvent how much it can be dissolved. For example, the amount of solute present in a saturated solution at a temperature, at a certain temperature, is called as solubility. Means, for example, I can say you that when you add a sugar and into the water, sugar is a solute, water is a solvent. When you add it, when you stir it, what happens? It will be get dissolved. You like that, you continuously can add it. At one particular point, what happens? The sugar won't be get dissolved. Even though if it is won't get dissolved, okay, if you won't get dissolved, what you will do? You will be trying to heat it out. When you heat it out, at that time that particle will be get dissolved. Means at particular temperature, whatever the particles are dissolved in the solvent, that particular complete process we can call it as a means amount of solute present in a saturated solution. In such solutions only we call it as a solubility. At particular temperature only I'm talking about it. Here that example only we are saying that, okay, if you are taking a 1 gram of sugar in a 50 ml of water, try to add it, and particularly if you are trying to share it, will be get completely dissolved. Such thing we can call it as a solubility. Now, here given activity 3, preparation of saturated and unsaturated solution. Saturated solution is nothing but a completely, when a solute, whatever the solute is there, it will be completely dissolved in a water, 100% completely dissolved in water. That such type of solution we call it as a saturated solution. To prepare that, what he is doing, he is taking a 50 ml of water. In that he has taken a 1 spoon of sugar and added, he stirred it very well. When you stir it, what happened? What are the sugar particles are there? They are completely get dissolved in that. Whenever they are dissolved completely at particular temperature, at that particular temperature, that particular solutions we call it as a saturated solution. In the same way, what I am doing now, if I want to prepare a unsaturated solution, and take a glass 50 ml of water, only in that I have added a first 1, 2, 3 like that. I go on adding a solute. If I am adding a solute at one particular point, what happens? Solute won't get dissolved in a water. Such type of solutions. Such type of solutions I can call it as a such type of solutions I can call it as a unsaturated solution. I can call it as a unsaturated saturation solution. Means further what you will do? You can, when heating whatever, by heating what you will do, you will try to dissolve it. Then after, if you go on at one particular point will be there, it won't get dissolved. That particular point only we call it as a such type of solution. Such type of solutions we call it as a unsaturated solution. Means here the sugar will be solute will be more, solvent will be less. Due to that, it won't. Same experiment you can try it with the salt. You can try it with the salt also. Next, what are the factors affecting the rate of dissolving? See, what are the factors? Means you can here say the first factor, what are the rate of dissolving, it is the temperature now. Because of the temperature, what happen, as you are heating it out, whatever the particles are there, which are in, if it is an unsaturated solution also, if you are heating it out, if you are increasing the temperature, compulsory most of the particles will be get dissolved. Means it will be get, so the means I can say that by increasing the temperature you can dissolve the mean we can make it as saturated solutions, I can say. Here two things are there when we are talking about the concentrated and we will be talking about the dilute. When we are saying it as a concentrated and when we are saying it as a dilute. Dilute is nothing but when you are mixing only the solute quantity is very less and the solvent quantity is more, at that time I can call it as a dilute. Concentrated means the solute quantity will be more compared to that solvent quantity will be less. Such type of situations we can call it as a such type of things I can call it as a concentrated solutions. Yes, dilute solutions are there, concentrated. But in a dilute, solute will be less, whereas in a concentrated, solute will be more. Based upon this, he has given you the formula. What will be the mass percentage of solute? Okay, mass percentage of solute. Mass percentage of solute given as, okay, given as mass of solute by mass of solution, mass of solute by mass of solution into 100. These are the things which will be helpful in calculating the problems. Okay, when you go for the volume percentage, if you want to know, At that time here volume of solute, okay, by solution, volume of solution into 100, volume of solution into 100. In the same way, if you want to know the mass by volume percentage, at that time what you need to do, it means you need to take a mass of the solute by volume of solution into 100. These are the formulas which will be helpful in calculating the problems. This is about your mass solubility, concentration of solubility. And now coming to the problem, he has given you the problem. The solution contains 50 grams of common salt, 200 grams of water. See here, he is saying you the solute. Okay, mass of solute he has given you. Mass of solute is given as how much it is? 50 grams. Mass of solvent he has given you. Mass of solvent is he has given you as a 200 grams. And he is saying you to calculate the mass by mass volume of the solution. Means here he has given you the solute and solvent, but I want a solution. Mass of the solution is equal to solute plus solvent. Solute plus solvent is 50 plus 200, which is equal to 250. I got a mass of the solution, I had a mass of the solute. Mass percentage, mass by mass percentage is equal to, formula is mass of the solute is 50, mass of the solution is 200, 250 into 0, 0 answer 5 1 ja 5 25 ja okay, 25 1 ja 4 ja, it is 4%. It is, sorry, 5 1 ja 5 5 ja 5 into 20, which is the percentage is 20%. Percentage is 20%. Like this, he has given you one more example. He has taken 80 ml of solution. Directly he has given you the 80 ml of solution over there. No need to calculate the. He has given you the volume. Okay, volume is equal to, he has given you volume of solution. Volume of solution is given as 80 ml, and he has given you the, again, mass of the solute he has given you. Mass of solute which is given as a 20 gram. We had a mass by volume percentage. Okay, mass of the solute by volume of solution into 100. 0 0 cancel, 2 1 ja 2 4 ja, okay, 4 into 25, answer is 25%. Okay. Next, suspension ion collider. What is suspension ion? What is collider? First of all, finding the heterogeneous mixtures. What is homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture? You need to know. Homogeneous mixture, okay, and heterogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture is a mixture in which it will be get completely dissolved. Whereas a heterogeneous mixture, it won't be get dissolved. Still, we can see some of the particles which are present in it. Such a type of mixture we call it as a heterogeneous mixture. Already in the last class we have seen what is homogeneous and what is heterogeneous. But we are talking about the suspension and colloidal. Suspension and colloidal, both of them are the heterogeneous mixture. They are not a homogeneous mixture. Here first, see some of the things we will be taking. See here we are taking the chalk mixture and the milk mixture. See here, both of them are the heterogeneous mixture. Chalk mixture is the heterogeneous mixture and the milk mixture is also heterogeneous mixture. But here how can you differentiate them, whether it is a suspension and whether it is a collider? Means here, suspension, what are the mixture which are present in that which will be easily visible to your eyes? Something like chalk powder, I said you. When you make a chalk powder and if you add it to the water, what happens? What all the mixtures are there? You can see with your naked eyes. When you see such mixtures with the naked eye, such type of solutions we call it as a heterogeneous mixture. In that heterogeneous mixture only we are calling the such type of mixtures, we are calling it as a suspensions. For example, if you are trying to mix a water and milk, We cannot differentiate either water is there. So many other particles also present in the milk that all cannot be differentiated. The whatever the size of the particle is there, it is less than 100 nanometers, very 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 small it is. Due to that, it cannot be differentiated. When you cannot differentiate the size of the particle in that, we cannot identify, but it is a heterogeneous mixture, but we cannot differentiate the particle. Such type of mixtures we call it as a colloidal. We call it as a colloidal. Means here colloidal solutions is there, that the particle size are very small, but even though they are the heterogeneous mixture, they are the heterogeneous mixture. See here, whatever they are also called as colloidal dispersions. Dispersions means whatever here what happens, the two different phases will be present for the colloidal solution, that is a dispersion medium is a dispersed phase is a dispersion medium is a. Here in what happens in one situation, the particle will be, so for example here how it will be present, something like it will be present in the gaseous state, then after it will become into liquid state. Again we can take it as a colloidal, something like fog is there, clouds are there, mist is there. Fog is there in the form of gas, clouds will be consisting of water, completely aerosol which is nothing but a colloidal type, which is nothing but your mist. Like that, so many examples are there. Smoke, automobile exhaust, these all are the examples for your colloidal mixture. Okay, next in that only I can say you the one of the best example is the Tyndall effect. Okay, Tyndall effect is nothing but a scattering of beam of light. What happen in your classrooms or in your home, what happen, the whenever the sunlight which will be falls in your home, but you had a small hole on the window, the gap will be there, otherwise hole on the from the ventilation, and the sunlight will be falls on in your home, but what happened, some of the dust particles will be try to fly away towards them, like that. Means here what happened, already the dust particles are present in front of you, but you cannot see the dust particles. We cannot see the dust particles. Why we cannot see? Means it is invisibility. If they actually they are very less scared, the light it is not falling on that much, like intensity of light is not required for. When the light sunrise, which whenever it fall on the dust particle, they will be start scattering, they will be trying to emit a light, they will be trying to emit a light, whatever the light is emitted through that only we are calling it as a Tyndall effect, the scattering of light. Okay, scattering of light, it will be generally seen in a classroom. I gave you one of the example, when you go to the forest and everything, everywhere else, in that all the places will be seeing the Tyndall effect only. In a forest area, what happens, the sunrise will be falling over there. That all are the best example for the Tyndall effect. Next, is cream a colloid or not? Yeah, if you take a different type of ice creams, in all the creams, you'll be having a different particles. For example, if you take a cruncher and just you crunch, some of the layers will be formed on the cream. Means here I can say that cream is the colloidal, but the particles won't visible to us. That's why the creams are also the colloidal only. And he has given you the differentiate between the suspension and colloidal. Very very important question which will be asked in the exam. Prepare well for that. Next, separate the components of mixture. Okay, what are the components? Okay, separating the components of the mixture.